Today is my day 2 of the 7-day Facebook challenge, and since it's March 16th, in honor of my mom's birthday, I'm going to share a little bit about my mom and what it was like to be raised by her. She was born the youngest of 5 children. She's the youngest of 5, and that was from a second marriage for my grandfather. I never really heard too much about my grandpa's first marriage. In fact, I didn't even know until I was a teenager that my grandpa had been married before and had other kids. It wasn't something that was ever really talked about. So my mom being the youngest of 5, she was a total surprise, a pleasant surprise, as she liked to put it. And her parents were quite a bit older when they had her. In fact, they had already had separate bedrooms by the time she was born. So she pretty much raised herself, is how she explained it to me, because they were just old and tired. My mom was the one who got me really into old movies as a teenager. She turned me on to black and white movies. Some of my favorite shows growing up were like I Love Lucy and Bewitched, Nickelodeon, Nick at Night. Those shows were some of my favorites to watch with my mom. Those of you that know me pretty well, and those that don't too, have seen on my Facebook, I've posted in the last couple of years that my mom has been missing, or MIA. I was actually going to file a missing persons report last year because I hadn't seen or spoke to her in over 2 years, and neither had anybody else in my family or any of her friends. They hadn't seen or heard from her, so I was a little reluctant to file a missing persons report, so I went to see a psychic, and I was told that she was safe and in a place where she didn't feel like she was being scrutinized and she didn't feel like a burden to people. So it wasn't in Utah, is all that they could really tell me, but several months went by and I ended up hearing from a relative that she was visiting in California. So I asked the relative to please let her know that I was pregnant and expecting my first daughter, as well as my little sister, who is about 11 years younger than me, was also expecting her first child, which was also a girl. So my mom ended up reaching out to my little sister and congratulating her and just letting her know that she was sorry that she couldn't be here, but she was working on herself and learning how to love herself, and she also wasn't able to reach out to me for whatever reasons. You know, she wouldn't really specify, but I don't take it personal. It hurts that my mom's not emotionally available, but she really hasn't been, most of my life, she hasn't really been able to provide for herself, let alone for her children. Not just emotionally, but financially, mentally, she just wasn't there. Like I said, she was bipolar, and I know that she was sexually molested from the time she was like 8 until she was like 16 by a family friend. And I don't think she ever really healed from that. And sadly, I think that it made her promiscuous in her adult years. So it's been about 3 years since I've had any contact with my mom, and I just want to wish her a happy birthday, let her know that I love her and I miss her, and I hope that she's getting the healing that she needs so that she can be in my life and my kids' lives. My son was her first grandchild, and she said that will always be her gem, and I think that's pretty cool, to be the first, the first grandchild on my side. It's pretty awesome, both for my mom and for my dad. Other than that, I just thought I would share a little bit about my mom and You know, even though she had a little bit of crazy, she's been pretty much who I feel like was the main influence in my life. She had to be really strong when she was a single mother, and I saw her be independent. However, she didn't have the fortitude to follow through with that strength and independence. I guess she didn't really see any merit in providing for herself, so she's kind of always had to have somebody take care of her. And I'm glad that I recognize that, because I don't want to be that way. I don't want to have to count on somebody else. And, you know, some of the best advice that she ever gave me was, you can't count on anybody but yourself. Sadly, that was something she told me when I was really young, and she exposed me to a lot when it came to information. She never really held back, and I think that I've passed that down to my son. I think that can be good and bad. Sometimes I kick myself for exposing him to certain movies or things that maybe I shouldn't have, but it is what it is at this point, I guess. I just really wish that my mom could be here to give me some encouragement, and vice versa. You know, I wish that I could encourage her and let her know that she's missed. Until tomorrow.